Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. What's it like where you live right now? It's like 80 degrees here. So before we get started, I want you to put in the comments down below, where do you guys live? What is the temperature? Is it snowing outside? Are you looking for warmer weather? Are you coming to Florida to visit anytime soon? It seems like a lot of retirees or people that are thinking about retiring sometimes think of warmer climates like Florida. So if you're between 40 to 60 years old, this channel's for you because I'm taking you back and talking about my past where I got to financial independence at age 58 years old. I ended up quitting my job at 59 at the start of my 59th year. So 2025 was my first year of retirement. And in today's video, I want to talk about why I call Tampa home and how I designed a stress-free life. But first, I want to be like those other retirement YouTubers, like Joe, Dwayne, Buzz's Garage, all those people that are out on YouTube. And I want to ask some of the other retirement YouTubers out there right now, the bald guys, is there room for one more bald guy in the retirement space on YouTube? I hope so, because I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So welcome again and let's get started. So let me take you back. I did not grow up in Florida. I'm from Ohio. I think I mentioned that before. I went to school up at Ohio University. I ended up after college coming to Tampa because my mom and her husband at the time were in Safety Harbor, which is a part of Clearwater, Florida. So my brother and I used to come down over Christmas, over, spring break, during the summers, and spend time here. But when I got out of school, I started looking in Ohio as well as in the Tampa Bay area. Ultimately found a job in the Tampa area, so I moved here and I've never left. Over the years, I traveled with my job, so I was gone sometimes 2 weeks at a time for extended periods like that over, multiple years, almost every other month. And I would always go to other places and picture myself living there. Like, would I want to move from Florida? Or as I got older, could I see Florida being a retirement place for me? And it's interesting because back in the 80s, do you guys remember the movie Cocoon? What was it? Steve Guttenberg and some other folks? Not Jessica Tandy, but was it? No, what's her name? I forget. If you know, put it in the comments. But those old folks, I was like 24 at the time. And I remember thinking, wow, I already live here. This is great. So I can just get older and retire here, even though I'm already here. And Florida back then was even more of a retirement destination than it is now. I mean, it just seems like it was more focused on that many years ago. So I want to know, how many of you are thinking of moving to Florida? Are you thinking of coming here? Because in today's video, I want to talk about what it's really like living in the Tampa Bay area. So first of all, we have plenty of sunshine, right? You can see that right out my window. In my stress-free retirement life going into my second year, I usually go to the pool every day. It's just a very nice, active lifestyle that I have. I can pretty much walk anywhere. I walk to the grocery store. I walk to my gym. It's a very friendly place for retirees. I live in a condo, 600 square feet. I bought this back in 2003. Very simple life. I just pretty much believed in the one and done philosophy, and I bought the condo and I pretty much stayed here. Lots of freedom, and I love routine as well. Cruise ships. I got into cruising probably 2 to 3 years ago. I've got a friend named Michael that retired a year before me. We get together once a month or so and we talk about retirement. By the way, you should have an accountability partner, somebody that you know that you can talk to, get together once in a while and just start picking their brain. Like, how much money do you have? What are you going to do in terms of retirement? Are you going to retire early? You really need somebody in your personal life to bounce ideas off of. So Michael and I would do that pretty much all the time. And then we decided to have retirement retreats on a cruise ship. So I think I'm going to pop up on the screen right now a picture of me on the Carnival Freedom in the Bahamas. And we were on the Carnival Freedom, but this is a picture of the boat next to us, the ship, which is the Carnival Dream. And it was during these retreats on the ship that we would pretty much brainstorm our ideas. Now, a little while ago in a video, I told you I'm going to be sharing you my 5-year plan. So keep coming back. And it was shortly before this picture that I shared with Michael my 5-year plan. And he pretty much agreed with it, like 100%. So again, have somebody in your personal life that you can bounce ideas off of. In my first year of retirement, I went on 3 cruises, and now in 2026, I hope to do many more as well. And living in a condo, there's no yard work, pretty much lock and leave flexibility, lower maintenance. Sometimes the maintenance can be kind of high in Florida because, the insurance crisis that we're going through right now because of the collapse of the condos, I think in Miami, I think it was. So insurance is pretty high, and our association fees continue to go up because we have to have so much in reserves to be able to fix the property if something goes wrong. So in 2023, I had a $3,000 assessment, and in 2024, I had a $10,000 assessment. I know, special assessment above and beyond your monthly fees. And that was because we had to replace the roofs on about 7 buildings here. There's approximately, I think, 8 buildings within this community. It looks like Melrose Place. There's a pool in the center, very Spanish Mediterranean. And so I remember thinking I have the money for it. I felt bad for people that live here that really didn't save very much through the years because Florida can be very expensive. So think about that if you're going to be wanting to move here. And there's tons of great neighborhoods like Hyde Park, the West Shore area, Bayshore Beautiful, Harbor Island. Tampa has a lot to offer early retirees. So my story is because my mom and my stepfather were living in Safety Harbor at the time, I kind of moved down here for that job. But if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here. But I'm certainly glad they were here because now I like it here quite a bit. Now, let's talk about hurricanes. Hurricanes in Florida is something that you really have to deal with. If you're not into the hurricanes, I would advise you not to even think about moving here. It's been really bad lately, except for 2025. We got lucky. There was not one hurricane that hit the state of Florida. But in 2023, we had Idalia, which flooded parts of Tampa. In fact, the road right outside of my condo community flooded. And I remember thinking, wow, yeah, I can't believe that the water came so close. I think I have a picture of it. Maybe I'll pop it in. And then in 2024, of course, we had Helene, which I told you flooded my community except for my building, so I'm fine. And Hurricane Milton, which hit south of here. Prior to that, 2017, Irma was a huge hurricane which came up the coast, created a reverse surge in the bay. The water was actually sucked out and then went back in. 2018 was Hurricane Michael, which devastated the Panhandle area. 2022, Hurricane Ian, which devastated Fort Myers. And previous to that, in 2004, we had Francis, Jean, Ivan, and Charlie all came through the area. None of them were direct hits, so I didn't panic. But all of these years, I've been thinking, when is that hurricane going to come? The one that really devastated the Tampa Bay area was 1921. So by fate, I pretty much ended in the Tampa Bay area because of my family. I, again, don't think I would have moved here, but I did intentionally build a stress-free life in retirement. Right now, it's very quiet for me. The mornings are super quiet. I prepare YouTube videos. There's no rushing around. I can walk to the grocery store. I walk to the gym. It's a very carefree place to live. And yet, I have to share with you, though, that I position myself for stress-free in terms of finances. I shared with you before what my expenses are. They are super low. I think that was a week ago, the episode I dropped. $20,000 are my critical expenses. It was all very intentional through the years. You know, a lot of times they say people that retire need potentially 70 or 80% of their income that they have when they retire. But you have to understand, I was saving 70 to 75% of my income in the last 5 or 6 years before I retired. So my expenses have always been super low. And that opened up the opportunity for me to retire early when I wanted to. Not when I was let go of a job, but when I wanted to go. So I have some tips for you before we close out today's episode. And by the way, leave me some comments and let me know what you think. Tip number 1, choose a place that matches your present and future energy. So if you're more of a city person, you might want to go somewhere where there's a lot of hustle and bustle and things to do. If you're more quiet and reserved and you want to live more out in the country, then you can design that life for yourself as well. Number 2, prioritize convenience and peace of mind over square footage. My condo is 600 square feet. That's all I need. People think they need a lot of space, but maybe you really don't. I remember when I bought this place, I had a friend from New York, and he's like, you know what? In New York, you could barely even get that at an affordable price. And if you can afford something in New York, it's usually going to be about 600 square feet. So that made me feel pretty much confident with my purchase. Number 3, don't buy more house than you can truly afford. And I know people use the word afford kind of willy-nilly a little bit, like, can you really afford something? Well, yeah, if you can afford the monthly payment, people think I can afford it. But when you look at the bigger picture, when you look at retirement just in general, or retiring early, or having a life of abundance and freedom and the ability to not have an income coming in from a W-2 job, then maybe you say to yourself, no, I can't really afford it because it's not allowing me to quit my job like when I'm 58 years old. The 4th tip I have for you is build a life of routine, not just a checklist. Don't go through life checking off these things just because everybody else is doing it. Your neighbors are doing it. They're buying vacation homes. they're doing this, they're doing that. Build a life of routine, and then the passion projects that you have will come out because you won't be thinking about your job. In fact, I remember the last 2 years I was working. I really wanted to retire in 2022 because that's when I really reached financial independence in my mind as far as the 4% rule, and I knew that I could probably retire at that particular point. So I used to go to Marketplace out on my computer, and I would figure out, well, open up the application. Could I get insurance? Could I get subsidies through the government? I had 2022, 23, and 2024 as applications out there because I was practicing that routine of getting insurance before I actually needed it. And as I got to financial independence, that's when things inside of me started to bubble up. Like I was saying to myself, Evan, now you're starting to think about these other things that you could do, these passion projects that before I never even wanted to think about it. Why would I think about something that I couldn't do? If you're working 8 to 10 hours a day or more, why allow yourself to even think those things? It's only when you have built a life where you can afford to quit your job do those things actually come to the surface. The 5th tip I have for you, if you're thinking of moving to a warmer climate or wherever, maybe downsizing in retirement, is to simplify your surroundings. After the hurricanes in 2024, I got a realtor and I started looking at properties because I was freaking out thinking that this was going to be a trend, and it probably will be. These superstorms are coming through and wreaking havoc on people's lives. And I remember the realtor asked me, she said, "Oh, you're looking to downsize?" I'm like, no, I pretty much can't downsize any more than I already am. I have a 600 square foot 1-bedroom condo. And we kind of laughed at that. But many of you watching right now, you probably have 4-bedroom homes, 5-bedroom homes. You have a garage full of stuff. It might be time to simplify your life, to get rid of things. It's one thing I've practiced every single year. And in fact, I think I have to do it again. I usually go into my closets and I take everything out and I look at those items and I say, do I really need this item? And if not, I get rid of it. So tip number 5, simplify your surroundings now before you go into retirement. If you guys are in retirement right now, you might want to just look around your house and think about the items you have if you really need them or not. Number 6, consider weather, walkability, and airport access. So for me living in Tampa, of course, I already talked about the weather. It's beautiful here. It's paradise. I absolutely love it. It's not beautiful every day like people think, but it is most of the time. I told you about Mr. Money Mustache. I love the fact that he rides his bike. He walks everywhere. I like to adopt that kind of a lifestyle. And airport access, I live right by the Tampa airport, so it's easy for me to go anywhere. For years when I was traveling with my job, I would just take a taxi. Do you guys know what a taxi is? I'm sure you do, if you're old like me. And number 7, to close out today's video, let yourself evolve in your first year of retirement. And again, I know many of you are probably preparing for retirement, which is why you found my channel, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. You might want to click like, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to be one of the retirement bald guys on YouTube, sharing my experience, so with your help I can get there. So in closing, retirement isn't about escaping something, of course, as you know. It's about designing a life that you truly want. And Tampa helps me certainly live in that way. So I hope sharing my experience helps you consider what your own version of a stress-free life can be. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.